Hello Wolfpack, I'm very happy to announce that our Q4 bottom prediction that we made in November 2021, when we were all the way up near 60k, has finally come through. We've seen a Q4 bottom. Obviously it's not confirmed, right, because we don't know whether we're going to go lower, deeper into 2023, but the point is, we have seen a low in Q4 here at 17.1k. Very excited to announce that. We've helped out so many people by having that prediction there. I know a lot of the followers, a lot of the subscribers have followed that, and it's great to see it finally play out. So let's get into the analysis. What's going to happen next? What are we seeing? A similar situation to 2018 where we saw a 50% drop? Where is the bottom actually going to be? We can start to answer some of those questions a little bit more in depth to a certain extent. So let's get into it, guys. Alright guys, so as you can see, we've seen a massive drop on Bitcoin below the ascending wedge formation. Very, very quick, very sudden, and this has been the volatility we've been waiting for. I mean, we saw compression on Bitcoin as seen by the weekly chart that we really haven't seen since around, basically June 2020. And we finally saw that compression, we finally saw it play out, we've seen drop now. And the question is, will the drop continue? Obviously, we're still in the midst of a drop. By the time this video gets out, I hope the price isn't too different. Short-term analysis right now, I'll tell you right now, anything other than basically the 4-hourly chart lower than that is completely irrelevant. We're dropping way too quick for the short-term analysis to actually mean anything. All we need to really do is look at where the support levels kind of are at this point. Now, looking at this chart, the first thing you'll notice is that we haven't actually seen a bottom on the Binance chart. Now, the Binance chart hasn't seen a bottom. However, if we go over to something like the Bitstamp chart, we can see that we saw very much a bottom down here at 17.1k. So it's different charts, different exchanges have different price points that have been met here. I guarantee if I switch to the Binance chart on a different USDT pair or USDC pair, it would show you a different bottom price. But I can assure you that the bottom was very well met on all the exchanges that I personally use, such as BitGet, such as Bitstamp, such as all those big exchanges that aren't Binance. And even on Binance, as I said, on certain pairs, we did reach a bottom. So the Q4 bottom has been met. This chart may be slightly misleading, but this is the one we're going to look at for the time being. And what we can see is that major support right now. What are we looking at? We're looking at this uptrending yellow diagonal line stemming from the June lows, stemming all the way through. We're looking for that for a daily candle support. But ultimately, other than that, there's not really much support that we're looking at. We don't really have much support. What we do have in support is on the weekly chart, and this is more important, right? Because we already kind of lost that 17.6k low support. What we're looking for now is on the weekly chart support. The weekly chart support is the 300-week SMA, which is this blue line here, okay? This blue weekly chart line, that is the support zone that we're looking at. We need to hold that support zone. If we lose that support zone, there is basically nothing. I want to really, nail that point in. If we lose this line, there's basically nothing that I can see that would stop us from going to 13.8k. Because there's really not much. I mean, historically speaking, the only support we have in that region between the 300-week SMA and 13.8k is kind of a month of price action in 2018 during peak volatility. Other than that, there's not really any, substantial moving averages that have been tested and tried and true over the course of the entirety of price action of Bitcoin. There would be new support we could form, but nothing really historically speaking. There's nothing there. There's a massive gap between, this 300-week at around 17k and 13.8k. So we really have to hold this, provided we bottom here and don't go lower, of course, which of course isn't a given at this point in time. It's too hard to say. But provided we want to bottom out in the 17k region, we need to hold the 300-week on the weekly chart. And this is something I've been saying as a possibility for a long period of time. And a lot of people would have quoted me on this. I said what we'll see most likely is a wick below the 300-week and ultimately holding the 300-week for support and ultimately going upwards after that. Now, if we were to bottom right here, that's exactly what we would see. However, that's not certain at this point in time. We do still have to consider the possibility of going down to 13.8k to 11.5k. And hence, what should you be doing right now? How should you be reacting based on that information? Well, I'll tell you exactly how you should be reacting. This is the appropriate way to react to the current Bitcoin price action, in my personal opinion. It is this. All right, you want to be seeing you want to be conducting a 50% buy at current prices at, say, 17k to 18k-ish, okay? That's what you should be doing. In fact, you should have already done that already, right? And then you want to be conducting a 50% buy at 13.8k to 11.5k-ish, or if we don't go down to that level, okay, which is extremely possible, we don't have to go down that low, you want to be conducting the 50% buy at a breakout, a weekly close, right? A weekly close above the bull market support band. That is the appropriate way. If you haven't bought any Bitcoin yet, if you bought Bitcoin at 20.8k and you sold it when I told you to sell it, right? That is the appropriate way to kind of react to this Bitcoin situation. A 50% buy at this current price level, a 50% buy at 13.8k to 11.5k, or if we don't reach that price point, which is possible, a 50% buy at a weekly close above the bull market support band. Now, why do I say the bull market support band? What's relevant about that? We can go check it out. Bull market support band let's go ahead and go to this chart here and ignore the current analysis. We'll look into that in a second. Bull market support band, as you can see in 2018, for example, when we have reason to believe we're seeing a similar structure to 2018, which we'll get into in a second, we saw a rejection off of it before dropping. When we finally got back above it, we saw a pump and we saw the bull market bottom, the bear market bottom, and we could be seeing the same thing, rejection off of it, massive dump, and when we get back above it, we could be seeing the bear market bottom. So I would say that the bull market support band is extremely important at this point in time. I want to briefly interrupt this video to talk about the BitGet exchange. Now, the BitGet exchange has 5 times lower fees than Binance, which is commonly referred to as the cheapest exchange in the cryptocurrency market. It's also non-KYC or voluntarily KYC, so you can stay true to the fundamental values of cryptocurrency, one of which being anonymity, of course. It's also got a security fund in there, so if you lose your funds by fault of the exchange or by personal fault, you can make a claim and actually retrieve your funds back. On top of all of this, if you sign up using my referral link, you can get access to exclusive discounts and rewards. This is the best exchange on the cryptocurrency market, and I use it personally, and so should everyone at the Wolves of Crypto YouTube channel. Now, if you're interested in actually learning how to trade for yourself, you can check out the Crypto Academy via the website link in the description below. This is a course developed by myself and Megaworld Crypto, a 10-unit course taking you through every single step from step 1 to step infinite about how to become a trader. Go ahead and check that out and chuck us an email at cryptoacademycourses@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you with the full information and payment information if you're interested. Thanks, guys, for watching the advertisements. Let's get back into the video. But ultimately, what I want to look at, and this is something that not many people know about, all right? We have seen, for the first time in the entire price history of Bitcoin ever, a death cross, a bearish cross, a death cross between the 200-week SMA and the 200-day SMA. And on the day we saw that death cross, in fact, I think a day after we saw that death cross, we saw this massive correction take place. We have seen so far a correction of 20% 2 days after that occurred, after weeks and weeks of, lack of volatility. This death cross, first time ever in the entire price history of Bitcoin, has led to a massive Bitcoin drop. And at this point in time, we're unsure as to whether we're going to drop more. We very well could. This didn't even happen in 2018. Now, what did happen in 2018 is a bull market support band rejection, right? And what did happen in 2018 also was a horizontal support zone before the bull market support rejection that was eventually lost after the bull market support band rejection, which led to a massive drop on Bitcoin before seeing the lows about a month after the drop began. We are seeing a similar structure right now. We saw a horizontal support zone, okay? Bull market support band rejection, massive drop, currently on the verge of breaking down below that horizontal support zone. And if we do see that horizontal support zone breakdown, we could very well see what we saw in 2018, which is dropping for about a month before finally finding the bottom, which could be as much as 50% lower. If we're adjusting diminishing returns, it could be, say, I don't know, let's say 30% lower, which would be 11.5k to 13.8k, conveniently. Now, another reason to believe we're doing something similar to 2018, again, this is not certain, it's just speculation, but it is worth considering because there is very much, as we approach these lows, as we make new lows, new bear market lows, we need to consider going lower. For example, we've got seller exhaustion constant, which is a kind of an analysis of seller exhaustion in the market. It's kind of low volatility plus high losses. We've only seen this level of low volatility plus high losses. This is from a few days ago. We've only seen it on 7 occasions. All right. On 6 of those 7 occasions, it led to a pump. However, on the one occasion it didn't lead to a pump, it was 2018 in the region that we've been analyzing, which we're looking very similar to right now. On that occasion, it led to a 50% drop, right? Could we be seeing the same thing? It's very well possible, right? It's very well possible we are seeing the same thing. Right now, the thing about Bitcoin is this. We've seen the Q4 bottom now, right? So up until this point, the entirety of our, or a large part of our analysis has been, all right, the bottom's not in yet because of the Q4, the 4-year cycle. That's been the whole thing, right? Bottom's not in yet as per the 4-year cycle. Now we've seen a Q4 low. So we can't rely on that anymore, right? We have to look at alternate methods, and we're going to be getting into that very extensively over the next few days. We can't get into it too much today because I'm trying to rush out a video. I haven't done too much analysis. But what I can say is this. CPI is in basically, 36 hours? 36 hours until CPI. After CPI happens, we're going to have such a large amount of clarity. It could lead to a big bounce. That could be the low. or it could lead to a big drop. I think CPI will be tossing up this salad a lot more than it's already tossed, for lack of a better analogy there. But ultimately, I think the number one thing people should be watching right now, this 300-week SMA. Will we close above that? If we do, that's very good information for us to kind of say, okay, maybe this is the low. If we don't, that's very good information for us to say maybe we trend downwards further to those lower support zones. That's the main thing people should be watching here. And of course, people should be watching CPI. But ultimately, I do want to reiterate that buying plan that we just made up. I think this is an appropriate way to react to the situation. I still see it as basically impossible for Bitcoin to go below 11.5k. That's something I've always stuck by. I don't see it as likely in the slightest that we go below 11.5k at the absolute worst scenario. Even, in yesterday's video, I said 13.8k to 11.5k in itself is pretty unlikely. Look, it would be hard for me to stick by that claim after what we've seen in the last 24 hours. But I will say that I still think it is more likely than not that we do bottom out in this 17 to 18k region. I do think that. I genuinely do. So let's see. I could be wrong, obviously. And if I am wrong, I'm only really partially wrong because we still think this is possible and we still believe in the 4-year cycle. So I've said over and over again for months and months, my main part of my prediction is the 4-year cycle. It's the date range trend. It's not the price point. And that's been proven correct and I'm happy with that. So unless we go down into 2023, Wolfpack, pat yourself on the back if you listen to this analysis because that is amazing stuff here. Not many other people in this market were so consistent there. We literally predict that a year in advance. Absolutely insane. So congrats to the Wolfpack. Catch you guys in the next video. Cheers.